This episode of OMGLoL is brought to you by Audible. For a free book and 30-day trial, head on over to audible.com/Gamebreaker.
Gamebreaker TV.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to OMGLoL. That's right, it's December 6th? December 6th sounds right. Sure, I'll go with it. All right, I'm Gary again, and you're Gamebreaker TV. This is OMGLoL, the League of Legends drama show. Joining me, as always, Sean Delaney, a.k.a. Forecourt Jester. How are you, sir?
Yep, doing good. It's been a heck of a week for esports and League of Legends.
It has indeed. So, bad week for Team Dignitas. Not only did owner Odie lose his house in a fire, they had a pro player on the team actually banned in Season 3 by Riot. First up,
yep.
What's the update on Odie? Everything okay? What's going on?
Odie has some really good friends and a lot of supporters, so Total Biscuit did a nice charity drive for him, and they will be able to, come out of this one. But I mean, losing everything in a fire just really, really sucks. But he has a lot of support. Total Biscuit really helped him out. He will be okay.
Well, that's good news. Now let's go on to the Season 3 ban by Riot. So Riot literally banned. First of all, Riot can just ban people out of the tournament. I guess they can. It's their game, huh?
Well, most people should know this, but there is this thing called the Summoner's Code, and when you play the game, you are inherently agreeing to play by the rules. And by the rules means just don't be a dickwad. That's pretty much what it is in a nutshell. Don't be a bad player. Don't be a toxic player. And unfortunately for them, Dignitas IWillDominate, their jungler, was in the top 0.7% of the toxic players. So Riot made a judgment call. They said this is unacceptable, and they were not afraid to literally ban him from all of Season 3. He cannot compete or even play the game. He's technically permabanned for the next year.
What do you have to do to actually get in that top 7%? Like, is it just consistent, just trolling chats, using racial slurs? Like, how far does it have to go to become a toxic player? Like, where does the line sort of draw between, like, what's the word? Just like competitive sort of ribbing. Because, like you're watching the NFL or something, guy like, goes up to the other guy, he's like saying something into his ear, but it's not like, they're going to get banned for something like that. How far are these guys going to get banned?
Well, the cloak of anonymity in the internet has always been somewhat of a safeguard for these players. But yeah, constant verbal harassment, constant just using words that were better off said not here. But it's just basically the biggest report is verbal harassment. So, you get first blooded, okay, fine, sometimes things happen, but if you're going to rip into someone consistently, or, someone took your lane and then they're doing bad at it and you're like, oh, well, if you had let me play, we wouldn't be in this mess. The kind of stuff like that, verbal harassment is really what it's coming down to. He does it in, I think this is his 7th or 8th trip to the tribunal. That's how often he gets reported for just mouthing off in games.
What do you think's the solution? I mean, is it just Riot has to? Is this the first? Is this the first ban we've seen from Riot on a pro player for a season?
For a whole season, yes. Yeah. They have done action against pros before, but it's always been temporary kind of stuff. But for a whole season, Season 3 is going to be the gemstone of Riot Games and esports. And now they're telling, it's like telling a singer that just got into their big break, no albums for you for a year. I mean, that is really going to tarnish any kind of fledgling career that in any situation. So Riot coming down, like they said, this was not an easy decision on their part, but they need to set an example and say that pro players have to abide by the rules just like anyone else.
How do you feel about it? I mean, how do you feel? Because I feel like this is something for a lot of players out there who aren't, pro or hardcore. And I think there's a lot of sort of casual players out there who would much rather would want to get into League more, but they're actually afraid of League of Legends for this very aspect, because the MOBA scene has this sort of stigma attached to it where it is pretty brutal and it's pretty hardcore and you're going to get yelled at and people are going to hate on you. And I don't know. I commend Riot for banning him, and I almost think that the only way to clean up the community is to kind of have basically a zero tolerance policy.
Well, zero tolerance, they do have the warning system, obviously, but I, for one, am happy. You know, if you are going to take out the garbage, then it does not matter what kind of title that garbage has or what kind of vintage status. Garbage is garbage. So to me, if he is in the 0.7% of the most toxic players, yeah, exactly. Like, if you're just going to be a dick in every game, then what is the point? And you do have to abide by these rules, especially as a pro player. People look up to you, man. People mimic you. People watch you not only for your skill, but for your sportsmanship, for your interaction with everyone. And like somebody as toxic as that, like, it's just a shame. And a lot of the people on Twitter, a lot of the people out in the forums, on Reddit, you know, they're very unanimously agreeing that, yeah, I mean, it's the right call. And he seems to be very sorry for himself. He did do an apology, but the damage is done.
I almost even wonder for pro players, like, I'm going to go on a limb. Of course, I feel bad Odie, you know, is going through something with his house right now, but where's the team manager? Where's the owner? Why are they not being penalized by their own team, saying, like, you guys can't act like this? Like, they should be. Isn't that what they're there for? I mean, isn't this why the pro players have team managers? Shouldn't they be on them as well? I mean, I don't know. I almost dare I say, oh, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but Riot, maybe they should start holding pro teams accountable for their players as well.
Well, we have seen them actually implement punishments in the World Finals. I mean, the people involved in the whole TSM versus Azubu screen watching, Azubu getting fined out of it. I mean, that was their first kind of punishment that you've really seen that to really stick to a pro team. And now this coming out, I mean, the tribunal's not for the really, like, the tournament games. This is all just solo queue stuff. Like, this is just him playing on his own time, just in solo queue to get that rating up. So I mean, in his eyes, I guess it didn't really matter. Like, it's not a competitive game. There's no money riding on it. I can just do what I want. And he had a wrong attitude going into it. So punishing the whole team for that, maybe down the line, like, if this becomes more of a rampant problem, I think because of this example now being set, we're going to be seeing a lot more, quote, pros being careful because their career could be at risk.
So don't get me wrong. I'm not maybe saying that the entire team should be, you know, banned for season 3. I'm not saying that, but I don't know. Maybe there's a fine. Maybe that player is banned, and maybe the team gets a fine, a monetary fine. Hey, we are going to fine you guys X. Just like, I mean, these things happen in pro sports. Teams are fined for certain things. Players are fined for certain things. I don't know. I'm just wondering if there needs to be a little bit more, held accountable for it. It's a touchy situation. I don't know. So what does this mean for Team Dignitas anyway? Now that they've lost him, what are they? How are they maneuvering and switching things up?
Well, they have publicly said that, you know, they have to find a new jungle. So, or maybe not even a new jungle, maybe just a new teammate. And we're going to see something like akin to what CLG did, where they had some lane swaps going around, some role swaps. So right now, I do remember reading on Reddit that Wings of Death is being really encouraged by the community to rejoin a pro team and go top lane. I mean, if he goes top lane for Dignitas, Crumbs, who's the current top lane, was a previous jungler before. So he could easily go back to the jungle, and then bam, problem solved. You have a solid 5 team of really popular, really skillful, and really mannered team players. But yeah.
Really mannered. What do you think this means for the entire scene overall, this whole story? I mean, what does this mean for everyone?
Well, it's just another reminder that the tribunal system is working. So, you know, if people say they're going to report you and you see it often enough, well, guess what? You're probably going to get visited by the tribunal.
I say kudos to Riot. This scene needs to be cleaned up a bit. It's getting a bad stigma amongst the media, and everybody's just, you know, grabbing hold and kind of talking about it. I think, and I know a lot of the kids out there sort of feel like, well, that's what the game's about, and that's part of the, you know, the way the game is played. And it's like, yeah, but to get this thing to progress to the next level, like, has to be taken with a level of professionalism, and it's going to start with the teams. And I'm going to say it's going to start with the team managers. Like, they need to get harder on these guys. Next up, Quantic announced just this week that their funding has been completely pulled and it's leaving their teams out in the cold. So what's the deal with Quantic? What happened here? Who left?
Well, actually, it's not any of the players that left. It's the investing that has left out of Quantic. Apparently, you know, this is apparently more prevalent in the StarCraft or the Call of Duty, but apparently Quantic just spends so much money and they don't really have those results to kind of back it up. that the investing team has just called it quits. They said, all right, well, we're done funding you because you're spending a lot of money, and B, you're not really getting us the results. So right after IPO, it was just, okay, done, goodbye. And now Quantic is just kind of folding under all that. It's just, like, there was no warning apparently to the players. None of the players that I've seen said that they saw this coming, but apparently other like spectators in the StarCraft and the Call of Duty scenes kind of had an inkling that it was going to go down.
Didn't this happen to it happened to their League of Legends team before?
The League of Legends team that Quantic picked up is Orbit, and yeah, kind of the same thing happened to Orbit. Orbit all of a sudden just like, yeah, okay, the money's gone, goodbye, and you're out in the cold. So that kind of double sucks for Orbit, now Quantic.
What do you think this means for the future of a Quantic LoL team?
I hear that they are in talks with a new sponsor. I don't know who that is. I'm fairly sure if it does go through, we will see a very prompt announcement, whoever they do go under. I mean, last time that this happened, there's a big event that they had qualified to, and they actually appealed to Reddit, believe it or not, and Reddit actually sent them, so they became Team Reddit Nation for the Lone Star Clash just last month. But now with this out of the, this happening to them again, well, I can just only pray that they're going to be finding another sponsor and they can just, carry on, because they are talented. They do, have their good points, but they just need to find a solid sponsor so they can focus on playing.
All right, next up, in the start of November, Voyboy had left CLG for LocoDoco to join. And this week, CLG announced new tryouts for the support role. So apparently LocoDoco didn't last too long. Guess things aren't working out over there. What's going on?
Start of November, and now it's the start of December. He was literally there like 5-6 weeks at the max. And yeah, apparently LocoDoco just not enjoying NA. I saw in an interview that he had at IPL5 that he was saying some kind of trashy things about the North American scene. And if you look at a global scale, North America.
This is the drama show. We do like to hear about the drama. I'm intrigued. What was he saying?
He's saying that NA is not the highest of tiers. It's just really rusting him up, and he doesn't like being in the shadow of Doublelift, the AD that he is now supporting. Because in Korea, LocoDoco was a star AD player, and now he's going from all the guts, all the glory to the support of the guts and the glory. So not only is he living in the shadow, he's playing against inferior players in his eyes, and he's playing with a team that he might get along great with, but the team has not delivered anything on the global scale. So that, compared to being the champion in Korea, I can see him moving back, yeah.
So what do you think the future of CLG is at this point now?
They've put out a public appeal saying that they're doing tryouts for the new support role because LocoDoco is no longer with them. Nat Nugent, apparently, was their tryout for MLG. So could be good for Nat, might not be good for Nat. Nat from TSM Evo, the now defunct TSM team, that's where Wings of Death was from as well. So, he might be looking to get back into everything. But either way, we don't have a solid number on what CLG wants to do, but they are looking for a fifth. This could be a really good opportunity for a lot of those people looking to break into the scene, especially for support roles, because nobody likes to play support in League of Legends.
All right, last up this week. 2 weeks ago, we had mentioned that Elements had been benched and Curse was going with a new support, but it has been reversed. What is going on? What happened to the new support?
Rux went to IPL 5, and now I've been told that Elements will be retaking his place on the front line. So, Elements he wasn't kicked out of the team, he didn't leave the team, but
he just benched.
When you go... Yeah, he just got benched. People are now calling him the bench king, or we're seeing benchception here because it's just going back and forth. The two supports have been benched within less than a month of each other, which is fairly strange. But either way, Elements coming back to the front line, confirmed by Travis, one of the big League of Legends reporters. It was all big news on Reddit. I've seen so many posters of people photoshopping Elements onto movie posters, Return of the Bench King, Lord of the Rings kind of stuff. Yeah, he's back.
Do you think it's a bad sign though for Curse? Do you think this kind of shows that there's some weakness there and that they might not be too strong?
I I don't think it's really a player weakness. I'm just very curious about who's making these decisions in Curse. Like, is it the players making these decisions? Is it the management? Like, is it Liquid? Because Liquid said that it was his choice to bench Elementz. Is it his choice again to bring him back? Like, I just like to know who's in charge over there.
We want to know who's in charge. Sean, thanks so much again for a great week. Keep it locked and dialed in right here to Gamebreaker.tv all day, every day for all your League of Legends news. And of course, watch OMGLoL every single week. We'll be back next week with more League of Legends drama. Have a great week.